So let us see, what do you mean by thermodynamics? Thermodynamics is a branch of physics that deals with the concept of heat and temperature and the interconversion of heat and other form of energy. Thermo means heat and dynamics means motion. So question here arises, what is the difference between heat and temperature? Let us see what is temperature first. Temperature is a measure of the hotness of the body, or you can say it's a degree of hotness of the body. How much hot the body is. For example, in comparison with minus 10 degrees Celsius, ice is hot because ice temperature is 0 degrees Celsius. Because of this temperature, whatever the energy is produced in the medium or in the system is called as heat. So heat is a form of energy which is measured in calories or joules. Next concept that we are learn, flow of heat and the concept of thermal equilibrium. Remember, the heat always flows from high temperature to the low temperature. And when we say that two objects are attaining the same temperature, then we can call them that both the bodies or objects are at thermal equilibrium. This concept of thermal equilibrium gives rise to what is called as the zeroth law of thermodynamics. Let us learn zeroth law of thermodynamics. Observe the figures carefully. There are three cylinders shown, A, B and C. The temperature of cylinder A is TA, temperature of cylinder B is TB, and temperature of cylinder C is TC. If I say that temperature TA is equal to TB, that means the cylinder A is in thermal equilibrium with cylinder B. And if I say the temperature TB is equal to temperature TC, that is the cylinder B is in thermal equilibrium with cylinder C, then we can say the cylinder A and cylinder C are also in thermal equilibrium. That is TA is equal to TC. So we can frame the zeroth law of thermodynamics. If two systems are each in thermal equilibrium with the third system, then they are also in thermal equilibrium with each other. This is the principle on which the thermometers work. The most important concept in thermodynamics is internal energy. The entire thermodynamics deals with this internal energy. What is internal energy? Internal energy, by definition, is the energy associated with the random disorder motion of the molecules of the system. When we talk about internal energy, we are talking about the microscopic energy and not the macroscopic energy. So to understand this internal energy, take a first question into consideration. For a glass filled with water and is kept on the table, is the internal kinetic energy or internal energy of the water zero? If we observe the glass filled with water and it is kept on the table, everything is calm, quiet and stagnant macroscopically. But microscopically, if you observe, there is a mass of 100,000 molecules moving with high velocities or high speeds. So we cannot say at the microscopic level that the water molecules are totally at rest. They are moving with some velocity or some speed. So they possess kinetic energy. Because of the intermolecular force of attraction, there is potential energy for the water which is filled in the glass. So at the microscopic level, the water possesses internal energy. The next question that strikes our mind, do solid possess internal energy? Answer is yes, solid do possess internal energy. And it is because of the intermolecular or interatomic force of attraction between the atoms. So on what factor the internal energy of the gas depends? In kinetic theory of gases, we had learned equipartition theorem. And we have learned that the internal energy of a monoatomic gas is 3 by 2 nkt. For a diatomic gas, it was 5 by 2 nkt, where K is the Boltzmann constant and T is the temperature. So internal energy of the gas depends on temperature. Now we will learn the concept of thermodynamic system. Thermodynamic system is classified into three types: open system, closed system, and isolated system. Let's learn open system. Observe the figure carefully. The photograph shows here that there is a kettle in which water or tea is boiling, and it has been kept on a hot stove or on a gas stove. The steam is coming out. So steam can be called as a matter because it contains water vapor in it. At the same time, the kettle gets heated up and it starts exchanging heat with the surrounding. As heat and matter both are exchanged between the system and the surrounding, because the heat is given out and matter in a form of steam is also given out to the surrounding, we say that the system is an open system. On the other hand, if you observe the gas geyser or electric geyser, it is a part, or you can say it acts like a closed system. When we put on the geyser, the electric one, the coil gets heated up, transfers the heat energy to water, and the water gets heated. But from the geyser, you will never find the steam coming out. So there is no exchange of matter with the surrounding. But there is an exchange of heat with the surrounding. So in a closed system, only heat and not matter can be exchanged between the system and the surrounding. Third, isolated system. The best example is a thermos flask. Thermos flask, if you take into consideration the ideal thermos flask, it neither exchange heat nor matter between the system and the surrounding. We will learn the concept of flow of heat, that is the transfer of energy. To understand this, we'll take a very simple example. A water is boiled in a vessel which is made of steel. Fine. So the water that is there in that utensil or vessel becomes a system. The still vessel becomes the boundary because it is acting like an interface between the external of that entire system, that we'll call as surrounding, and it separates system and surrounding. So let us say temperature of the system is Ts and the temperature of surrounding is T. And let us say that Q is the amount of heat that will get exchanged between system and surrounding. If we consider the temperature of the system is at, or you can say less than, the temperature of the environment or surrounding, then the amount of heat Q is transferred from the surrounding to the system. The system gains energy. In that case, Q is positive, or you can say Q is greater than 0. If the temperature of the system is very high, that means in comparison with surrounding, it's a hotter body, then the system will give the energy to the surrounding and it will lose its energy. So Q is negative or Q is less than 0. So here the figure shows in first case that temperature of the system is less than that of surrounding. So the energy is transferred from the surrounding to the system. So Q is greater than 0. In the second figure, you can see the system is hotter. That means the system has a higher temperature than that of the surrounding. So the energy is transferred to the surrounding. So Q is less than 0 because there is a loss of energy. And if system and surrounding are in thermal equilibrium with each other, that means both are having the same temperature, then there will be no exchange of energy between the system and the surrounding. In that case, Q is equal to 0. The change in the internal energy can be brought by two different ways or by both. That means at the same time both can be worked out. The two different ways are heating the system or by doing work on the system. Now we will learn how to bring the change in the internal energy of the system by the process heating the system. The figure shows the gas maintained at the temperature 100 degrees Celsius. Let us call this as the initial state of the gas. The gas is heated and its temperature rises to 200 degrees Celsius. As the temperature has risen, the internal energy will be changed, or there will be a change in the internal energy because the internal energy is a function of temperature. So the gas gains energy and that leads to the increase in the internal energy. On the other hand, if we assume that the cylinder filled with a gas has a temperature higher than that of the surrounding, then the cylinder will give out the energy, or that system will give out the energy to the surrounding. That will lose the energy of the gas molecules, and the exchange of energy will take place and the cylinder will cool down. On the other hand, we can bring the change in internal energy by the work done on the system. If we push the piston of the cylinder, which is filled with a gas, the gas gets compressed and gains energy because the work is done on the system and its temperature rises. As the temperature increases, internal energy being a function of temperature, there is a change in internal energy that is brought. On the other hand, if we make the free expansion of gas, then the gas molecule push the piston in the outward direction. There is a displacement of the piston in the outward direction. The gas molecule will lose their energy and there will be a decrease in the internal energy of the gas molecules. Now we will learn the first law of thermodynamics. To understand the first law of thermodynamics, consider a system that is in a form of a cylinder filled with the gas molecules and having a massless, frictionless piston attached to it. We will consider the free expansion of gas that is enclosed in a cylinder. The gas molecules are in a random motion, so they will be exerting the force or pressure on the piston. As they are striking the piston every time, there will be a transfer in the momentum, and so the total force exerted by the system, that is the gas molecules, on the piston will be F is equal to P into A, where A is the area of cross section of the piston. Because of this force, or because of the transfer of momentum, the piston moves an infinitesimal distance dx. Therefore, the change in the volume of the cylinder will be A times dx. A times dx will give us the change in the volume dV. Therefore, the work done dW is force into displacement, which is equal to P A dx, which is equal to P into dV. So the total work done is the integration between the limits Vi to Vf. Vi will be the initial volume, Vf will be the final volume. So the integral will run from Vi to Vf, P times dV. So which is equal to P Vf minus Vi. Now if we assume that Q amount of heat is added to the system or given to the system and no work is done by the system, that means the gas does not expand, there is no change in the position of the piston, then the entire heat supplied will increase the internal energy. So we can write the change in internal energy delta U is equal to Q, because the Q amount of heat is only increasing the internal energy. On the other hand, if we say that the system does some work to increase its volume, and if no heat energy is supplied, then the system will lose energy to the surrounding, and its result will be the decrease in the internal energy. As the work is done by the gas, we can consider work done by the gas as positive and loss in the internal energy as negative. So delta U will be negative and vice versa. So delta U is equal to minus W. So we can write down the total change in the internal energy as delta U is equal to Q minus W. Therefore, the heat supplied to the system is equal to the change in internal energy of the system plus the work done on the system. So this equation gives the first law of thermodynamics. It is in accordance with the law of conservation of energy, which states that energy can neither be created nor it can be destroyed, but it can be transferred from one form to another. So in a nutshell, the first law of thermodynamics gives the relationship between the heat transfer, the work done, and the change in the internal energy of the system. Now we will learn the concept of thermodynamic state variables or the property of a system. The property of a system or a system variables is a characteristic of a system like mass, volume, pressure, temperature, internal energy, density is called a property of the system. So this property of the system we classify into two types, intensive and extensive properties. When we define intensive properties or incentive property, it is the properties that are independent of size of the system or the mass of the system. For example, temperature, density, pressure, etc. Extensive property. Extensive property depends on the size of the system or the mass of the system, like volume, enthalpy, that is the total heat content of the system, entropy, the measure of disorderness of the system, kinetic energy, potential energy at the microscopic level, and internal energy, etc. To understand the intensive and extensive property, we will consider a gas filled in a cylinder. Let the density of the gas be rho, its pressure is P, volume is V, temperature is T, and internal energy is U. Let us imagine that we can make a compartment in that cylinder, which will result in the division of mass. That means the total mass will get divided. So it's m by 2 in first half of the cylinder, and then in the next half or the second half of the cylinder you have m by 2. Then volume gets divided as v by 2, v by 2. Internal energy will also change because internal energy is mass dependent property because it depends on kinetic energy. So u by 2, u by 2. But the net temperature of the system will remain the same. The pressure exerted will not change, and the density of the gas is not going to vary. So you can see in the given block, extensive property m by 2, m by 2, v by 2, v by 2, that is a division in the cylinder that is observed, u by 2, u by 2, that is a change, internal energy is getting divided. One half of the compartment has the energy u by 2, second half of the compartment has the internal energy u by 2. But the intensive properties like temperature, pressure, and density is same for both. Now we will learn the concept of thermodynamic equilibrium. Thermodynamic equilibrium is a very important concept in thermodynamics. When we define thermodynamic equilibrium, we can define as the state of the system like pressure, volume, and temperature is uniquely specified at that time. That means if a temperature is 100 degrees Celsius, at that particular time interval, it's 100 degrees. There cannot be any other temperature at that moment of time. Or say volume is 100 cubic meter, then at that particular time instant, it's 100 cubic meter volume of the gas. So for defining these values uniquely at that particular time, the system should follow a quasi-static nature. The quasi-static nature means the system should undergo a very slow process. If the process becomes slow, then and then only we can define the unique value of pressure, volume and temperature at that time. This thermodynamic equilibrium can be classified into three types: mechanical equilibrium, chemical equilibrium, and thermal equilibrium. When we define mechanical equilibrium, there are no unbalanced forces acting between system and system and surrounding. Whenever some unbalanced force exists within the system, they will get neutralized with time to attain the condition of equilibrium. So, we can say a system is in mechanical equilibrium when the pressure is same throughout and does not change with time. On the other hand, when we talk about chemical equilibrium, there should not be any chemical reactions that are going in the system, nor there should be any exchange of matter between the system and the surrounding. And so we can say that the chemical composition of the system remains same, and so the system is in chemical equilibrium. Thermal equilibrium. In thermal equilibrium, there is no exchange of heat, so the temperature remains same, and we can say the system is in thermal equilibrium.